Hello, welcome back to the channel. I was randomly watching BookTube at like 4 o'clock in the morning because I randomly started thinking about how I wanted to keep an Excel spreadsheet. And I remembered that every year I go to Hardback Quarter to get her amazing spreadsheet tracker for reading. And I was like, hey, I wonder if she came out with her 2023 tracker yet. She hadn't. And what I found instead was that about 4 weeks ago, she recorded a video about burnout and what's going on over on her channel. And I just thought it was really interesting. And I wanted to watch that with you and sort of talk about some things because I think she makes some really interesting points. And I think it's a really important topic to discuss, like right at the top of the year. We're going into a new year. We're all going to be setting new goals. I'm doing it. I'm sure you're doing it. We tend to get like really lofty in the beginning of the year, like we're going to do all these amazing things. And then you know, things sort of fall by the wayside as the year goes on, or we overdo it, or I just think it's a really important thing to discuss. I mean, as a nurse, I have experienced burnout all the time. As a creative, I experience burnout all the time. I think it's a really important topic, and I think that this video addresses it really nicely. Some of the things are like very specific to Allie and her channel, which we can watch, but you might want to fast forward a little bit. But her more general discussions on burnout and booktube and the like are, I think, really spot on and worth a listen. So we're going to watch. Hopefully, Allie, you don't mind me doing this. And yeah, let's tee it up and check it out.
This video is probably going to be a mess, so enjoy. I am burnt out on BookTube. I'm pretty sure it's been pretty noticeable over the past year that my heart just isn't in this channel like it used to be. I've been on BookTube for an upwards of 7, maybe more, I don't even know anymore,
Nothing,
years, and
nothing to do with anything, but I think she looks super cute, and I love her background and like the whole vibe. I'm loving.
it's just really wearing on me, and I'm just not really sure what I'm doing. I don't want to say that I don't love my channel. I don't like that I don't love talking about books, that I don't love making content, because I still love all of those things and I wish that they could be a full-time job for me, that I could make this something that I get to do every day because I love it that much. But my life just hasn't been the same within the past year, and I don't really know what I'm doing. I don't think I'm alone in feeling any of this either, which is kind of sad. I've noticed a lot of creators, especially ones that have been on the platform for a few years, who are kind of feeling the same way, and just things that I've noticed with their own content, and whether that's just not posting anymore, leaving, finding different avenues, or changing their content. There's a lot of it, and
I think it's really hard to be a creative on YouTube in particular, but also just a creative in general. I think it's really difficult to constantly feel inspired to put stuff out. And there's always this pressure with these algorithms more than anything else. I think a lot of times the communities understand that like your core community, if you're like, I need a break for a couple weeks, and I apologize, the laundry's going. Um, but I think your core community, they understand. They're not going to leave your side. They get it. They're supportive. But the algorithm is vicious and it will stop pushing your stuff out. So if you take time off or you break your consistency, I feel like these algorithms just want you to keep making and making and making like you're some sort of bot. And you're not a bot, you're a human being. But anyway, I cut her off. Let's keep going.
I think BookTube specifically has a burnout problem. It is the type of content that we put out, book creators put out, and I think it is a massive burn. Obviously, I can't really speak to other people's experiences. I can really speak to mine, which is what I'm going to do today. And just like some of the observations that I have made over the years, especially recently in BookTube. Where to start? Where to start? For those who may be newer to my channel, I used to post videos at least 3 times a week. Tag Tuesday is where my channel really grew, and I was pretty dedicated to making sure that I was posting a tag every single Tuesday. Over time, the trends change, things like that change, schedules change, and so I went to posting 3 times a week still, but just various different content and whatnot, recommendations, things like that. So yeah, I've been on BookTube, I think, for an upwards of 7 years, and a lot has changed in that time. I will say, I think I really started to notice the burnout, as with most people, when the pandemic was really in all of our faces, first hitting. And when we went into isolation and lockdown, my habits were broken. And I struggle.
I think this is a really huge point. I've watched this already, so I'm sorry if we've taken away some of the mystery of it. But she's going to talk about how the pandemic really interrupted her habits in life and how it's been a struggle to get back to that. And I think so many of us in different areas of our lives are struggling with that. And like, this is the moment where I was like, I have to make a video about this because I think that this is huge. I think the fact that like the pandemic, I started this channel just shy of the pandemic starting. So in terms of like YouTubey stuff, that hasn't changed. But there's so much of other stuff in my life that I just can't get back to where I was pre-pandemic. Things with like just things that I enjoyed, like going for hikes and seeing my friends and more of the extroverted stuff. That little bit of extroversion that I had, it is like almost impossible for me to get that back. It feels like because it's been 2 years and I just have hunkered down so hard into being in my space here and reading and making content and just fulfilling myself and not seeking anything external that it's been a real struggle.
Really hard to reform habits. And I wasn't really sure what was happening within those 2 years. The 2 years since we like officially were in a lockdown have been so fucking hard in trying to just get my life in order, to be honest. I feel like a lot of people knew me as being a very organized person and being really on top of things and like knew me for planning videos, and like I can't get there. And in a way it feels like I've lost a bit of myself in that, because that was a little bit of what I was known for. So I was really struggling with not fully understanding what was going on with myself. And I was finding tasks and remembering to do tasks really hard.
Let me know if you guys feel like the same way, but I really feel like this right here is such a common thing, especially post pandemic, that I feel like more of us need to talk about it. Sorry, my mouse died.
So I finally went and sought help, and I was diagnosed with ADHD, which makes a lot more sense in retrospect. And on top of that, I also took on a new job within that time frame. I just, a lot of changes, a lot of things were happening during this time. I also took on a new job, and it is a job that is emotionally and creatively draining.
Word. Allie, if you actually are watching this, I'm sure you're not, but I feel you. I am creatively, energetically so drained so often. One of my favorite things to make for this channel are vlogs and just giving you snippets of my life. But some weeks I just can't. Like this week, I'm trying to vlog, and it's just kind of like, what am I vlogging? What am I like? What are we doing? This is just me trying to survive this week. Do you need to just see me trying to survive? Is that relatable? Is that bookish? Like, what is that content?
To me every single day. It takes most of me every single day. That means that I don't have a lot of leftover energy to spend on making videos. Some of my favorite things were filming videos, whether that was like in some sort of character or whatever, and then editing. I used to love editing videos. It was one of my favorite things to do. You can get so creative with editing, and I honestly I hate it now.
Editing is probably the worst part of making long form content. And not because I don't enjoy editing, it's just I have to be in the right space. But if you want to, again, feed the algorithm and consistently put out stuff, you can't always have like slick content. I mean, I don't know how some people have super slick content. without having people in the background doing their editing because but then also like how is a small creator like Allie's like pretty big. She's got like 30 some odd thousand, I think, subs. And like she's got some pretty slick content. How do you make slick content as a small creator that doesn't have a ton of money to buy all the equipment? Like, if you guys saw my equipment, like it's gotten better over the last couple of years, but it's still really slapdash. I still don't have a proper vlogging camera. I'm using like an iPhone 8 to vlog because I happen to have it. Because even Sprint was like, I don't want your phone back. It's too freaking old. Just keep it. So, like, how do we even compete? Like, this, the, how do you compete in the space and get noticed and seen so that then you can grow a community and grow on this platform? But then how do you also sustain that? Like, it is just a recipe for burnout. It is so tricky.
Hate it. I dread it. I film a video and I don't want to do it. It just feels like more work on top of a day that I've already worked so much at. I just find
The only thing, sorry, Allie, that's really bad free screen. For me, editing in the morning before I've really like woken up and before work has taken its toll on me is the only real way when it's not a day off that I can get any work done on the channel. I can't take like Instagram, I've sort of moved away from a lot because I just don't find as much enjoyment over there. I feel like the algorithm really got messed up with Reels and the community that I did have over there, I've like lost everybody because everybody was chasing the algorithm with these Reels. And I miss the discussions and comments and then the side chats and all of the like just sharing and supporting. And it was like a really lovely community until Reels, essentially. And then it's kind of devolving a little bit like Twitter some days. I feel like it's like a more picturesque Twitter, but I really still like making YouTube videos. I really like being able to chat directly with people. And I'm really loving doing individual book reviews now. Like that is something I've added in that I'm really loving. I enjoy hauling books for you guys, but I don't really care about doing those. I'm really bad at doing monthly wrap ups. So I don't know if you're going to see many more of those. But like, it's like, how do you make content that people want to watch, but that you also want to make? Because like, I can make a whole bunch of content that people will watch. Like, I could sit here and I could talk about Coho and I don't know. Apparently, Den of Vipers, my Den of Vipers vlog did really well. I could just read like really crazy, smutty romance and probably build a channel and talk about Avatar and like do all of that and build a following. Or I could become the classics girl and just focus in on classics and just talk about classics all day. But I would not be happy because I have so much more than just like that one sided one-dimensional creature. Like I do all kinds of things. That's why I like doing vlogs. I feel like those are the kinds of things where you get to know a creator. You want to understand who I am. I'll take you through my day. We can talk about how like I'm struggling with the fact that my dog is like a bajillion years old and is getting fitted for a wheelchair. Or we can talk. I can cook for you guys and share what I'm making this week. But I also talk to you about the books that I'm reading in real time, and you can watch me go from like hating to loving, loving to hating, just loving, loving, loving a book all the way through. Like, there's so much joy there. But then, like, what do people actually want to watch? Like, YouTube wants you to pick one stupid thing and just really niche down. Most of these algorithms want you to pick one thing and niche down. I can't do that. I can't do that. And if you make me be like a one in a box in a lane, if you box me in, I'm gonna burn out so fast. And I think that's what happened to Allie. Like Allie had her Allie brand and it gets exhausting because you are more than the thing that gets you views on YouTube or TikTok or wherever you are.
that I'm just not motivated. Like, I think about doing it and I'm just not motivated. I'd rather just lay around. And I'm like, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and I'm like, well, I'll do it tomorrow. And then tomorrow comes and I'm like, well, next week. There's always next week. So I think a lot of losing my schedule as well, because I went from posting 3 times a week and then slowly it was 2 times a week and then 1 times a week. And now we're at like once a month. It's just slowly dwindled away. I have also really struggled in those moments with feeling lazy and unaccomplished. I constantly feel like I'm letting people down. On top of that, I feel like I was constantly promising things and then I couldn't ever deliver on any of them despite really wanting to do them.
I think that's the worst part about having any sort of following is that people want things from you, and you also are a person who needs things for themselves. A lot of us, especially in booktube, are just people. We're not people with like teams. Like there's no way in hell that like Jack Edwards doesn't have a team of people or management. I'm sure Carly has management that helps her out. Does she edit her own videos? Do they edit their own videos? Probably some, but not all. Like I when you're just the little guy and you're doing all of the things, you are everything. It is exhausting. And then you also just carry the weight of so much guilt because you want to deliver. So, Allie, I feel you so hard. I do. I feel you so hard.
But just not having the time or the energy to really put my all into it. And then when I would finally take the time to create something, just not being happy with it. I've had people commenting on some of my videos that, they're like, what's wrong? You look tired. You just don't seem like you enjoyed any of this, and you like as what's going on? Like people have noticed. Somehow feeling all of those things has made me feel even less motivated. Like the fact that like I'm not getting anything done. You would think I would maybe feel more motivated, but in the long run I'm feeling even less motivated to do those things. I also in that time frame just in the past 2 years I've really had to look at my channel and realize that my channel is not what I want. It's not where I want it to be. BookTube has evolved so much in the time since I began making content. And as with any content creation, as with any platform, the trends are going to change. They have just changed and changed and changed, and I don't think I'm growing in the direction that the trends are going. I have just found overall that my interests are changing. I think being on BookTube is hard in that you have to box yourself in. Nothing outside of book content tends to do well on BookTube.
How do you become successful at BookTube and be more than just books? There are people like Sunbeam Jess who are like lifestyle people who have come to books. And so their content is like this lovely blend of people who love books, but also you want to see her just be fashionable and live her life or whatever. But like, how do you go the other way? How do you start in BookTube and expand it into other areas of your life? I think it's really hard. It's really, really hard.
Which is really frustrating because so many of us have so many other interests. When you're posting about something that isn't books, it's not going to do as well. I don't want to say that I don't love reading and I don't love books, because I do, and I will always love reading. I will always love books, and so much of my life has been surrounded with that love. I've made literally my whole life about books, and I've just been finding actually reading and wanting to read harder and harder. My passion is just it's burnt out. It's gone.
I think when you stop reading for you and you start having to read for was essentially work, this is happens so easily. And like everybody can get kind of slumpy and not want to read, but like you just feel like it's a job and it's no longer just something you enjoy. That hurts. I feel her for this one because I've talked to other creators who feel the same way where they're like, well, I have to read this for my patrons. I have to read this for that. And I'm just really not enjoying what I'm reading. And it's like, just read what you want. And then I realized that like my friends who have much bigger channels, I'm like, that's probably why they have such big channels because they're they have committed themselves to the algorithm and to the community, and, like, my dumbass is like, "No, I'm just gonna do whatever the hell I want, and if you're gonna come along for the ride, you're gonna come along for the ride," and that has its positives and negatives just like the other, so, I don't know, I just ooh, I hope that she finds joy in reading again. I hope that she stops reading for content and starts reading for Allie. I think that's what I wish for Allie, and for everybody who feels like this.
I think about reading books and I almost dread it. I don't want to really sit down and read because I often feel like I'm wasting my time. I've gone to audiobooks a lot because I feel like I can get other things done as I am listening to them, but that isn't a good way to read. To feel like you have to be productive while you're doing it and you have to accomplish something, it should just be for fun. I feel like I'm just pushing myself to listen to things to tally, just to tally at the end of the day. The books have just become a tally in my life. It's how many books did I read this month? We better get those numbers up. What can I find to read that will really bump the
I think that's one of the most toxic things that comes out of this entire community is this idea that you have to read a certain number of books. She's going to say something about how like nobody wants to see that you've only read 3 or 5 books or something. You know what? Yeah, I want to see if you've read 5 books. I want to see if you read 50 books. I don't care how many books you read in a month. Sometimes, we used to do this 30 books in a month challenge, a group of us, and I've done it I think once. Hey, you do it. Some of those books were children's books. You find a way to do it, and it was more like to do a challenge, but that's something that I, as somebody who does nothing else with their life and just listens and reads books all the time, that's what I found joy in. But to do it for views, to do it for clicks, to do it to feel relevant, it just sucks all the freaking fun out of it. Like, read whatever you want. For me, BookTube should be about like finding a book that you enjoy from somebody that you enjoy watching, and sometimes getting into like snarky little like friendly battles over books you disagree on. Like it's reading, guys. Like, let's touch some grass. You don't need to read like 200 books in a year to be an influencer, like a bookish influencer, and you don't. And I don't know. It's just the numbers thing really pisses me off. I don't think that that is. Just read fucking books. If you read 10 books in a year, you've done great. If you've read 3 books in a year, you've done great. If you've read 300 books in the year, how do you have the time? But you've done great. Like, who cares?
these numbers up. How can this look impressive in a video? I think a lot of people go through this, and this isn't just unique to me, but I do think a lot of people go through this in life where, you just kind of like get a little bit sick of a hobby that you have. Thing is, too, though, I'm still a very creative person, and I'm still someone who loves connecting with people. And I went in search of something outside of YouTube, basically. I know I spent a good many months figuring out what was the next level for my channel because I had been on YouTube and it was boring. And I felt like, "Whoa, are people still here for this? Like I'm just not too sure." So I went looking for new things. I decided to try a few different platforms and really looking into new platforms, and I decided to try streaming as well, which some of you have seen my live shows here, but I do also stream on Twitch. And
I think about the streaming on Twitch, like when I play, especially now that I'm playing The Sims again. And I just, every time I try to figure out how to even stream to Twitch, I get overwhelmed and I just, I just abandon it. I cannot figure out and I never watch anything on Twitch. I have a Twitch account. If you care to follow my Twitch account, there's nothing that happens there. But kudos, Allie. I can't figure out Twitch. I think I might be too old. I need someone to help me.
I fell in love with it. I think it's only natural that story lovers and readers turn to gaming because it is a different form of storytelling, often where you get to be the main character and make the decisions. It also felt like a hobby that I had missed out on for so long because I had convinced myself that I would never be good at them. Internalized misogyny, we love it. And I would say that Twitch has become my new main platform.
I will say that, like, I've tried to play other video games that are more like the games that Jesus plays, and I do not like them. Like, I like very specific, very cozy, very cute games. I think the most Jesus-like game that I play is Witchwood, and I still don't think that he would like Witchwood. But now I wanna go see Ellie's Twitch stream, so I wanna see what she's playing.
Numbers wise, YouTube is still my biggest platform. I would tell you that the one that I want to go to the most, the one that I want to be on the most, the one that I'm putting the most energy and time into is Twitch right now. I just love
I also just think it's perfectly natural as you change in life and grow in life to also have your content change and grow. And there's just going to be like weird adjustment periods where you go from like being a whatever to, person on YouTube to this person on YouTube, or maybe you are mostly on Twitch, and then maybe you talk about a mix of books and cozy games, or whatever the hell it is that you talk about over on YouTube. But sometimes just expecting people to remain static forever and to never change the things that they enjoy is just ludicrous. It's ludicrous. It is ludicrous to expect your creators to just never change and to just give you the same thing over and over and over again until you want something else and then expect them to change and meet your demands. I think that no, I'm proud of her for finding something that brings her joy because Christ, the amount of effort it takes to make all these things, like even just this video right now, which I'm doing on StreamYard and is going to be like the easiest way for me to do a video, is going to take a little bit of effort to get it up to you guys. Sitting down here and finding a slightly quietish moment to do this takes time. Getting Jesus to, not have screaming people on the television and stopping his life for an hour while I do this is there's commitments here. Let's not even talk about like the books that you read and all that stuff and like the random videos that I watch for when I do these commentary videos. Yeah, I'm happy Allie found something that brings her joy.
the level of interaction that I can feel. And it feels like something that I have been missing on YouTube for so long. Have always felt, because this has always been my number one problem, and my personal problem with being a content creator on YouTube is that I am not a commenter. I've never really been a commenter. I don't really comment on other people's videos, and I'm incredibly bad at commenting on my own videos and making sure people know that I have seen their comments. I read every single comment that comes in, but I rarely acknowledge them, and it's always been an issue for me. I really
Sorry, I was trying to find the like and subscribe button. So I think I also said happy Thanksgiving to you. It's not Thanksgiving. Responding to comments. I don't even get that many comments. And sometimes I feel like it's hard to respond to comments or at least acknowledge comments. Not because I have like some overwhelming number of them, but mostly because I'm like, what do I say? Sometimes I'm like, what do I say? Sometimes they're very weird comments. So I just let them sit there. And then sometimes like I have a comment right now that I'm waiting to respond to because they want to know my thoughts on book series that I haven't finished reading. It's like, do I respond saying I haven't finished reading it yet? And then forget about it and never tell them? Or do I leave it as not responded to so that I remember to go back and respond to it? I feel like having that discussion part in YouTube sucks, which is why I think Discord's really great. But that's a whole nother thing. Like, it's hard. Responding to all these comments is hard. Allie, give yourself a break.
love streaming because I do get to feel that sense of connecting and really feeling like I'm building a great community around myself. I think too, I've just really distanced it from YouTube, so it's not the same. A lot of the stuff that I have on Twitch is not the same here. It's a different username. It's kind of a different vibe. It's a different persona type thing. And I think I really just wanted to distance myself and kind of create a whole new space for myself because this space was no longer feeling like a good fit. Given all of that, being a content creator and even noticing that the content wasn't necessarily what I wanted still wasn't quite the final straw in my burnout. Like, I was still like, I can still, produce the same content. I can still put out my wrap ups and my haul.
Oh, the burnout denial. There's always this like long period of like, no, but like it's fine if I just do XYZ. If I do this, it'll be like I can just do these 3 things instead of these 8 things. It'll be fine. Like I can totally do that, but you don't realize that like you've totally exhausted any emotional and physical intellectual stores that you had for the thing. I feel this so much for so many areas of my life. Oh, Allie, hugs. I'm sending you hugs.
Goals and things like that, and that will be fine. Like, they're not things that are overly exciting, but they still get my opinions and my thoughts out there because there are still people who enjoy that. The final blow when I really realized that I was just burnt out on BookTube completely. When I realized that it was bad and that I was looking at something that I was going to have to take action on. Not finding joy in reading, not finding joy in filming content, not finding joy in editing the content. It's all pretty bad. I had just convinced myself that it would be fine, that it was fine. I needed a month off and then I'll be back. And then I'll be back. I'll be fine. I think it's when I realized that I had inadvertently distanced myself from the book community in and of itself. I found I didn't even want to watch any videos. I didn't want to watch BookTube. I didn't want to watch any book content on any platform. I stopped opening Instagram because all of the accounts.
Girl, you are on sensory overload. You are burnt out, done with. You needed, you need Twitch. You need a change. And I'm so glad you're getting it. And, hey, if you're watching this and you're somehow burnt out in some area of your life, here's your sign. Make the change.
I follow on Instagram are books. Don't even open it. Haven't posted on there. I don't want to be reminded that I'm not making that content. Book Talk, I'm not on Book Talk. I've tried to make a few videos and there's a few content creators that I interact with, but for the most part, I don't want it on my For You page. I don't use my subscriber button on YouTube. I just use suggested videos anymore. When I open up YouTube, I watch suggested videos. They're not books. This is the book content is the content I was obsessed with for years. We're talking years before I started a BookTube channel. Through my BookTube channel, this was stuff that I was obsessed with. Gathering ideas, connecting with other creators, which is one of the most fabulous parts of this. I just want to know parts. I didn't want it. Seeing book content reminds me of all that I'm not doing. It reminds me of everything that I want to do but have no motivation to do. It makes me feel really overwhelmed. It makes me feel like an imposter.
You're not an imposter. You just are absolutely burnt out and needed a break. And you'll probably come back to BookTube in some capacity. And it won't look the same as it was. And it will be different. But it will be something that's more compatible with you mentally, physically, and emotionally. And we should expect people to have to go through those changes. Like I said, every few years, you're going to change. You're going to grow up. Your tastes are going to change. Shit happens.
Makes me feel ashamed of a channel that I have worked really hard to build. I'm just not happy with the content that is here. I feel like my vlogs aren't good enough because I can't commit to vlogs all the time.
Oh my god. Vlog content is like a double-edged sword. I swear to God. I swear to God. I swear to God. Seriously, vlogging. When you're motivated, when you're doing stuff, it's fantastic. But when you don't want to even wash your hair or get out of PJs, you're in the middle of filming a weekly vlog.
I feel like I'm a perfectionist when it comes to vlogs. I worry too much about what type of content it is. I often talk too much. It wasn't a thing I could keep up with either because
I talk too much.
Content is longer content, which means more editing. I feel like my recommendations are stale. I feel like my videos are just really lackluster compared to a lot of new content. No matter how many times I feel like I've tried to reinvent.
It is so hard comparing yourself to other people, and it's so hard comparing yourself to bigger names sorry, there's always fuzz in my house from these stupid dogs. It is really hard comparing yourself to people that are really good on staying on top of new releases, new trends, the most recent book list, and people who have read most of the Booker long list before the Booker long list even comes out because they have their finger on the pulse of that. Who How? Look, I live in chaos because I probably also have undiagnosed ADHD like Allie did. Like, I just exist, all right? Like, we have the podcast, and it's this is the closest I've come to knowing what the hell is going on a regular basis in publishing because Naomi has her finger on the pulse of what's happening in publishing. I exist. I'm like, "Oh, I saw this book. I'm going to read it." And then I talk to you guys on the channel, and sometimes I talk to you like this book is brand new and it's actually 6 years old.
My channel to some degree and the content that I was doing, it just constantly did not feel like it was ever up to where it needed to be. It wasn't up to standard. I have officially lost track of new releases. I could not tell you what is going on in BookTube right now, what is trending in BookTube right now, and I just feel really tired of it all. Don't want to give up on this channel because that was very much what I was considering. I've been considering quitting and just letting the channel die. I thought about just doing it quietly. Just stop posting. Who would notice? My engagement is down. I've been actively losing subscribers, and it was really getting to me. And I knew that I was putting in my energy somewhere else. So at the same time, I kind of felt bad. I felt like I was abandoning something that I had put so much of my time and my energy and my heart into, and I didn't want to do that. I'm going to be inconsistent for quite some time. You're still going to see videos from me here and there, especially sponsored videos. Don't come at your girl for making money, okay? I need it. So I think you're going to get videos from me, but you might see me just testing new things.
This actually makes me kind of excited. I like when people are in this phase where they're trying out new stuff and they start to develop like the next evolution of their brand, their channel, their creativity. And so, like, I'm really excited. I know that it's probably really scary for Allie, and especially coming out of burnout, but like being able to recognize it, knowing that you have to make some changes, taking that step back, and then just playing. I feel like playing is one of the best things you can do because, like, you gotta play. Like, it will rekindle that like joy you had, and it'll be a joy in like a different way. It won't look the same as like when you started this channel, but it's gonna be the new version. It's gonna be her back order 2.0 or whatever. And I think it's to me, this sounds like a really exciting time. It's probably terrifying, but like it sounds like a really exciting time. And like sometimes you just need to do that. You need to like recognize when you are drowning in your own burnout and just like rip that band-aid off, distance yourself as much as possible, 180 your life, do whatever you need to do, and then start playing again. Start finding joy. Like incorporate things back into your life slowly and just find that joy. Oh, I'm excited for her. I'm excited that she's gotten this far and that she's gonna start playing again. And I want to see what she comes out with because she does have some pretty slick editing and she does have some really great ideas. And she's always had some really amazing things like on the technical side of BookTube. Sometimes we don't agree, like we read very differently. So I don't have like that kind of thing in common with Allie, but I've always kept her on my radar because there's always been something about her content and I find it interesting. And I find her editing skills and her creativity and her ideas interesting. And I think it will serve her well in whatever this new evolution is of her channel, and I wanna see what it is.
And you know what? I have a feeling I'm gonna lose a wave of people during this testing phase. I'm still gonna post bookish content, but I think I'm gonna try a few different things. I've considered making a channel that is totally unrelated to books, maybe just lifestyle stuff, and seeing if it does well on its own without prompting anyone to it, just to see, is it me? Like, maybe it's just me. Maybe I'm just not good at content.
Oh, no, Allie, you're good at content. You make good content. You didn't build this little channel that could because you weren't good at content. You're just tired of the content you're making, and I think that that's totally fair to be tired of the content you're making.
But for right now, I think I just need to take some time. I've started seeing a therapist.
Therapy's good. Also, like, show me how you made that background. Like, I wanna make that background. Like, I wanna make backgrounds like that. Like, my bookshelves are pretty, but, like, why don't I have some really cool background? Like, I've got this little ASMR channel that, like, is my little side project that I'm trying to figure out how to build out because I really like it, but it's very hard for me to do because it's very quiet. It's very hard to find quiet to make quiet content. But, like, how do you make that background? Tell me how you make a really beautiful background like that, but still have, like, lighting on you that looks good. I'd watch that.
Take some time to get to know me and to form more habits and to figure out what my life looks like because it's been 2 years in feeling like I'm a mess. And I feel like I just need to figure out how to stop being messy. That does lead me into, I don't want to say discussion because I'm probably not going to answer any of your comments. I'm going to read all of them. I'll probably talk about them on stream because it's much easier for me to talk about things than it is for me to type them out, apparently. BookTube in general has a burnout problem. So when I talk about these things, I want other people who feel this way to know that it's not just them and that also it is the system that is currently existing on this platform. You are expected to read all of it and then read some more. BookTube is such a back work heavy content creation. I still think that it is probably one of the most effort that anyone has to put into a content creation is BookTube. It takes your create.
I yes, just yes, yes. The amount of work that goes into being able to make BookTube content is absurd. And even really good creators aren't hitting numbers that like would get them compensated for their work like other creators who don't have to do quite as much back end work. Like I think about like I like making commentary videos because I like watching commentary videos and like it's like invest in the things you if you're gonna invest in companies that you know and companies that you use and blah 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 blah. That's like basic investing. I'm not don't take investing advice. I'm not like a financial advisor, but like you hear that bandied around and to me, it's the same sort of advice when you're like making content. Like make the content that you like to watch. Like if you want to do something. So like I like making these videos, but I can tell you that this takes a lot less effort than when I make a vlog, than when I make a review, than when I get ready for a podcast episode, when I'm trying to come at you with uh, wrap ups. It's a lot of back work. It really, really, really is. And then you also have to make it slick on top of that and intelligent and watchable and you need a hook and like the ands just keep going and it's a lot of work. Like I wish that in general booktubers got the recognition that a lot of other areas of YouTube get and pull in the same kinds of numbers as other areas of YouTube get. Like I watch a lot of different kinds of content on YouTube. I don't just watch a lot of BookTube. I don't even watch that much BookTube in comparison to a lot of the other things that I watch on YouTube. Sorry, I need my inhaler. It's getting hard for me to breathe today. Um, but those people grow so quickly, like people in the commentary space, especially like anti-MLM, anti-scam, that kind of space, people who make video essays, which is a lot of work. There's a lot of work, I think, in the people who make video essays. That is a lot of work. But there are these like pockets where you can grow, it seems, much more quickly and get like a nice big fan base, and then therefore you're getting compensated a little bit more quickly and appropriately for the amount of work you're putting in. But like in BookTube, the amount of booktubers that sit around like, I don't know, like 5K and under is crazy. And they are churning out content almost just as much or as frequently as people that may have like 30, 40, 50,000 people that sub to them. And they are not making anywhere near the same back from the algorithm, if that makes any sense. Yeah, I agree with that. Like, it's a lot of work. It's a lot of work to be a booktuber.
Activity, it takes your emotional energy, it takes your mental energy to constantly be on top of things, to be reading new things, to be reviewing things, but to put out a lot of content. The thing is, BookTube expects more and more of content creators each year. It's like you're
That I want to know if you guys agree. Like, do you think that the content creators on BookTube are being held to like more higher and higher standards, or like have the standards changed? I'd like to know everyone's thoughts on that. Like, what's the discord around that? Did you think we were gonna get through a video without the dogs barking? Yeah, fuck no. This house is so loud. I need a shisha. That is, if ever, I need to make merch that just says, I need a shisha.
You are a bad content creator if you're only reading the buzzword books. You're a bad content creator if you're only reading things no one has heard of. You better find the good mixture. You're a bad content creator if you're not posting the newest vlog trend within a month. Nope. Just within a month. No, within a week.
This stuff I hate though. Like, I'm almost 40. I don't care about your trends. I want to tell you what book I read. And maybe I'll share with you a cottage pie recipe. Like, where are my like old ladies at? Raise your hands. You are my demographic.
Of it trending. You're a bad content creator if you're not posting to YouTube, Instagram, and TikTok all at once. And I know that this type of mindset, especially with like posting other places and being interactive, are all part of content creation in general, but BookTube in and of itself has so much back work. You have to be researching titles. You have to be going and finding these titles. You have to then read the titles. You then have to spend time thinking through what you're going to say about them. Do you want to include why you liked it, why you disliked it? Do you want citations? How in depth of this review do you want it to be? Do I need to read something new to make this content happen? Also, you better read at least 20 books a month.
So I forgot to unmute myself because I'm an idiot. We did so well. We're very far into this video and I forgot. But I don't care if you read 20 books. I don't care if you read 5 books. I don't care. We need to stop this narrative. It doesn't freaking matter, okay? It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter how many books you read. More or less does not make you valid or less valid or whatever, and we need to stop. I hate this. I hate this so, so much.
If not, who wants to watch a wrap up anymore that's 3 books long? We're not bad content creators. I mean, I might be, but you're expected, just like every other content creator, to be putting out constant content. But your content depends on so much of your time and emotional labor. You're not just picking up a gadget and using it and seeing how it goes. You're not just getting clothes and trying.
Sometimes I wish I just like was a fashion vlogger. I would never be a fashion vlogger. This is my fashion. This is Jesus' sweater. He was going to throw it out. And I was like, yeah, no, I'll wear that. I'll wear your hand-me-downs, boyfriend. I'm wearing men's jeans. I'm not a fashionista. But I wish sometimes that I was, because it would be so much easier to create content around something like that, especially like short form content, and I would be able to keep up with trends a little bit more easily than something where I have to put in all this work in the background before I can ever even make a thing to film it, then edit it, then put it out there and hope that I've gotten it out there at the right time and that the right people are watching it and that anybody actually cares. I still to this day don't know why that Den of Vipers vlog gets views every single day somebody watches that vlog. I don't know why. That took days to make, hours to make. I'm glad that people are watching it, but like, what is it about that vlog that was so compelling that people continue to watch it? I don't know. Also, I don't care because I'm not going to keep doing that piece of content. There's millions of books in this world. I want to read all the ones that intrigue me and talk to you guys about them. That's it. Why do we make it more complicated than that?
Them on and giving a review. You're not playing a game and then just uploading your playthrough of it. You have to be reading 20 books a month. They must be talked about in a really thoughtful way. Otherwise, you're not a real reader. Also, don't forget to be enthusiastic in your reviews, because otherwise you might be boring. But also don't be too enthusiastic, because then no one will take you seriously. Don't read too much of one genre, because then you're not well read enough. It's a lot of work with a lot less payoff. Thing is, you have to go into BookTube knowing that. You have to understand when you go into it, which is really unfortunate that you are going to put in all this work and the payoff is going to be basically non-existent. The biggest payoff is just creating a really lovely community. That's not
This is like the biggest thing with BookTube is that this is not something that I think most of us get into because we're actually thinking that we're going to be the next, like, I don't know, who's even a big YouTuber anymore? We're not going to be PewDiePie, okay? No one's like, we're going to be the bookish PewDiePie. Like, no, we're not going to do that. We get into this because we like books and we want to talk about books. And so we talk about books. And then maybe we find a community of people that we can talk about books with. And then that's where we sort of live. And it's nice and it's wonderful. And maybe you create your own community. And it's really beautiful having your own community of people to talk about things that you enjoy. But this is not a moneymaker. But oh boy, is there a lot of effort that goes into it. A lot of effort that goes into it.
Not always enough to keep from feeling those frustrations and feeling that hurt. There's a reason that so many of these other platforms are doing better, whereas BookTube just is draining. YouTube as a whole is draining. I feel like this was just a long way of saying, hey, my channel is.
I think that's very true. I think that the reason why TikTok really takes off, especially book talk, is because you don't have to put in quite as much effort. Like making a long form video is a lot of effort. Even if you're making a blog on Reels or TikTok, making short form vlogs is so freaking easy when you've made like when you have to take 3+ hours of footage, put it together into something that's like under 60 minutes, because most people don't want to watch anything that's over 60 minutes. And frankly, getting somebody to watch something that is 60 minutes, like this is going to be 60 minutes, is going to be difficult. It's so much easier making short form content. And you can do it so quickly. You can make it in a few seconds, a few minutes, a few whatever, put it up. People watch it, they consume it, you repeat, repeat, repeat. And it's just YouTube is so much more work for not the same amount of payoff. I mean, like 40 people see my videos every week when I put videos out. If I put out a short, like 1,000 people can see it. That's crazy. It's crazy to me.
Going to be a mess for a while, and I'm not really sure what the future of this channel holds in general. I love it so much. This channel means so much to me. It has been my passion for an incredibly long time now. It's one of my biggest commitments in life. And I don't want to lose it, but I have definitely lost a lot of the passion. And I do think that the platform in and of itself is a bit to blame for that. And some of it is me just trying to figure out my own stuff. I will say that if you do want to catch me, I talk about books, but games and life and a bunch of other things on my Twitch. I'm live there currently 3 times a week. I think it's also a long way of saying that YouTube is not doing booktubers any favors, and that I think we just need to make sure that we know that, you know, how much effort our content creators are putting into their channels. It's a lot of their heart and their soul, and that it can be very draining. So, you know, if they seem like they're losing steam, just keep in mind that this platform in and of itself can be incredibly frustrating and a bit unforgiving. I don't want to discourage anyone from creating a booktube. It is an absolutely fantastic corner of the internet to be on. I think it's one of the most welcoming. It is as
Agreed.
places, I think, to make
I love
friends. As
BookTube.
most of my friends, well, my bestest friends, I've made through BookTube, and it can be really, really rewarding to build those communities. Anyway, I don't really know what I was seeking to accomplish in this video, other than that, the fact that I'm burnout, but that BookTube also has a burnout problem, and that is all.
So I hope that you guys enjoyed watching this along with me. I hope you enjoyed sort of the look at burnout and booktube. And I think it's a really interesting discussion about how the nature of the beast sort of feeds burnout and how sort of unavoidable that burnout kind of can be, and maybe learning that we all need to be a little bit more gentle with ourselves but also with the creators that we follow, because this takes a lot of energy and input and time and effort, and like the amount of time that I put into making content is insane. And if I didn't have passion for doing it, I would not be able to sustain this channel. So like, I totally understand what Ali is feeling, and I'm so grateful that she made a video talking about it, because I think it's something that we need to talk about more. Because when you come on to the internet and you're like bubbly and happy and everything appears fine, and then the cracks start coming because you can't maintain that persona any longer, you know, there's like two things that happen. You either have very caring people in your community who reach out and are like, "Are you okay?" Or you have just like people just leave or they get nasty or whatever, and you forget that there's a human underneath the creator. Like they are not just bots making book stuff for you. Like these, we're people. We're people. So I think it's really important that like you support the creators. If you're somebody you enjoy and you're watching them all the time, whether it's on Book Talk or anywhere else, especially if they're a smaller creator, if they're like under 10,000 subs or like 5,000 subs, and you're not subscribed to them, subscribe to them, leave them comments, like their videos, try to watch them as much all the way through as you can. All those little things are really great ways to support a smaller channel, even if they're not making money off of it, even if they're not monetized. Like, just that emotional support of knowing that people are consuming your content and enjoying it is so important. So I encourage you, if there's small creators that are in your feeds that you enjoy, subscribe, like and comment, do all those things, and just let them know that you give a shit about the content that they're making, because this takes effort, this takes time, this takes passion. And when you lose that, when you burn out, when it's too much, like it's it's really bad. And you try to maintain things while you've lost your passion, and it just everything suffers. So I thought this was a great video. I'm really happy that someone's making it made it and is talking about it. And I hope Allie finds her passion again for whatever her new channel is going to look like. And I can't wait to see, like I said, what that's going to be. Otherwise, like I said, like and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in my next video, whatever it may be, because it's my channel and I can do whatever I want.